Hello and welcome to the Small Times. I'm your host Bryce. Let's see what happened last week. A bronze statue of Robert E. Lee was taken down in Virginia. The 21-foot-tall figure was the last public Confederate icon in Richmond, the city that served as the Confederacy's capital during the Civil War. Hundreds of people gathered to witness the historic event. Anna Edwards, a founding member of the Virginia Defenders of Freedom, Justice, and Equality, or VDFG, had this to say about it. It's representative of the fact that we're sort of peeling back the layers of injustice that black people have faced when governed by white supremacist policies for so long. Virginia Governor Ralph Northram announced plans to remove the statue following the murder of George Floyd in 2020. Because we're dealing with the government, here we are a year and a half later. Several lawsuits were filed against Northram's administration in an effort to delay the statue's removal. Northram stated, "Any remnant like this that glorifies the lost cause of the Civil War, it needs to come down." The Southern Poverty Law Center reports that 168 Confederate symbols were removed across the U.S. in 2020. A Reuters poll in September 2017 showed that 57% of voters said Confederate monuments should remain, 26% said they should be removed, and 17% said they don't know. Juxtapose that against a July 2020 NBC poll where 51% of voters say the monuments should be removed, and 47% said they should remain. In other news, the former prosecutor in the Arbery case was booked and released from a Georgia jail last Wednesday. The prosecutor, Jackie Johnson, turned herself in after an indictment by a grand jury on charges of violating her oath of office and obstructing police. The indictment claims that Johnson utilized her position of power to protect Gregory and Travis McMichael, the father and son who killed Arbery. The two men saw Arbery jogging and pursued him in their truck, suspecting he had recently robbed the house. Arbery had no weapon or stolen goods on him when he was killed. The event was filmed by the McMichaels' neighbor, William Bryan, who joined in the pursuit. No charges were made against the men until 2 months later when the video went viral online. All three men will stand trial for murder charges this fall. Next up, the FDA is reviewing court-ordered applications for new tobacco products such as vapes. This is an effort to combat marketing campaigns that use enticing flavors such as bubblegum to attract children. The FDA was tasked with reviewing over 6.5 million products, and so far has reviewed 93% of the applications. Coming into effect last Thursday, the FDA has denied the marketing of over 55,000 flavored e-cigarette products. Some of the denied flavors are Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Fortnite Fruit Punch, and Parents Are Super Lame Pineapple. Okay, those last two I made up. The FDA has stated that all new tobacco products on the market without this authorization are marketed unlawfully and subject to enforcement. This decision weighs the benefits of vaping to help adults quit cigarettes against the harm caused to children who may not have ever tried tobacco products in the first place. I'm sure the tobacco companies will find a new and exciting way to get the next generation of kids hooked on nicotine. Moving on, effective September 6th, the emergency unemployment payments of $300 to $600 will be ending for more than 7 million Americans. This marks the largest cutoff of unemployment benefits in history. These provisions have been in place since March 2020 as part of the CARES Act. The number of employed workers is still down several million from pre-COVID numbers. Next up, Britney Spears' dad asked a judge last Tuesday to end his conservatorship over her. For those who don't know, the conservatorship has allowed her dad, Jamie Spears, to control many aspects of her life, including her finances, whether she can have a child, and more. This arrangement has gone on for the last 13 years. Jamie Spears filed the petition with Judge Brendy Penny. His lawyer wrote, "All he wants is what's best for his daughter." There was a hearing set for September 29th, meant to determine whether Jamie Spears should be removed as conservator from her daughter's estate. Some think that this move was in anticipation of that hearing. Britney's lawyer, Matthew Rosengart, said, having exposed his misconduct and improper plan to hold his daughter hostage by trying to extract a multi-million-dollar settlement, Mr. Spears has effectively surrendered. There is no settlement. We hope things work out for you, Britney, and as a wise man once said, "Leave Britney alone!" Last week, the World Bank released a report called Groundswell 2.0. This report warns that rising sea levels, water scarcity, and declining crop productivity could cause 216 million people to be forced to migrate by 2050. Sub-Saharan Africa accounts for 86 million potential migrants, South Asia 40 million, and 19 million for North America. The report modeled the impacts of climate change on 6 regions, concluding that there will be climate migration hotspots in the poorest parts of the world as early as 2030. The report notes that the number of climate refugees could be reduced by as much as 80%, if we took actions such as cutting emissions and integrating climate migration prevention into city development. The report also notes that 2016, 2019, and 2020 have been the warmest years on record. These changes in climate compound with record extreme poverty due to the pandemic to create this migration crisis. I'm from the Sunshine State of Florida, and we're not very high above sea level here. Huh. It looks like I live in one of these red areas. That can't be good. Moving on, Joe Rogan has COVID. The 54-year-old host of the Joe Rogan Experience claims he has thrown the kitchen sink at the virus. Some of his treatments include monoclonal antibodies, a vitamin drip, and everybody's favorite propaganda tool, ivermectin. Let me start by saying I'm not an expert or a doctor, I'm just an idiot with a camera. This is what I've learned from personal research. Ivermectin is for human consumption, horse consumption, and a whole lot of other animal consumption. The problem is, people are buying the horse version of the drug because it's available over the counter, while the human version is a prescription medication. This leads to signs like this. In fact, the inventor of ivermectin won the Nobel Prize in 2015 for the drug's anti-parasitic effects. Ivermectin has been used to treat millions of cases of river blindness, lymphatic filariasis. That sounds unhealthy. Lymphedema, and other diseases caused by roundworms. The real question is whether ivermectin does anything to cure COVID. The FDA has not approved ivermectin for use in treating COVID. There are several ongoing clinical trials, but the results are not yet conclusive. Some studies, such as this one from the Japanese Journal of Antibiotics, or this one from several doctors working at Broward Health hospitals, suggest that ivermectin could help with severe COVID symptoms. I suggest you find a doctor you trust and you ask them about it. Howard Stern, who is arguably the most popular radio host in history, had this to say about Rogan.
You know, like I heard Joe Rogan was saying, he says, what do you busting my balls?
I've got COVID, yeah,
he
and
goes,
I'm
I
taking
took
a horse dewormer, yeah.
And a doctor gave it to me. I go, well, a doctor would also give you a vaccine, so why take horse dewormer?
Personally, my stance on the vaccines is the same as Donald Trump's.
I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccine.
Didn't see that one coming, did ya? Thank you so much for watching The Small Times. I'm your host, Bryce, and I'll see you next week.